Many years ago, in the village of Umocheze, the rain poured heavily over the village, as if the sky shared in Mama Chuka's sorrow. She sat under the lean roof of her mud house, clutching the photo of her late husband Nnamdi. It had been 10 years since he passed, leaving her with their only child, a boy named Chuka, who was just 8 years old at the time, with no brother or relative willing to help. She became both the father and mother of the boy. Life had never been kind to her. She sold firewood, fetched water for people, and sometimes worked on people's farm to make ends meet. Every kobo she earned went into feeding her only son and sending him to school. There were days they went to bed only on soaked gari in cold water, but Mama never complained. Chuka was her joy, her pride, her reward from God. Whenever he brought home good results, she would dance barefooted in the compound, singing praises to God. Her neighbors mocked her sometimes, but she didn't really care. She believed that one day her son would change their story. There was a time Chuka had to stay home for a whole term because Mama could not pay his school fees. She cried all night, begging God to help her. The next morning, she went to the village market and offered to carry loads for traders. That was the day her hands peeled from the friction of the heavy baskets, but she smiled when she handed over the money to the school bursar. Her son was going back to school. That was all that mattered. She prayed over him every night. She would place her rough, cracked palm on his head and whisper, "My son, you will not fail. You will succeed and you will make me proud. God will guide your step." Despite the hardship, Chuka never gave her trouble. He was a focused and determined child. He saw how much his mother suffered and vowed to make her smile one day. He studied hard, passed his senior secondary school examination and JAMB in one sitting, and he gained admission into the university. Years flew by. Chuka graduated with a first-class degree in accounting and was retained by one of the biggest firms in Lagos after his NYSC. He worked hard and climbed the ladder quickly. His colleagues admired his dedication and humility. He never forgot where he came from. Soon, Chuka built a modest bungalow in the village. "Mama, this is for you." His mother fell to the ground in tears. "You did this for me?" she asked, her voice shaking. "Yes, Mama, you deserve more," Chuka replied, holding her gently. She wept uncontrollably. Her neighbors gathered, clapping and rejoicing with her. Some were genuinely happy. Others watched in silence, surprised how far she and her son had come. They had adapted it from the very onset. Chuka made sure she had everything she needed. He employed a young lady to help her at home. He sent her money monthly and visited her often. During one of Chuka's business trip, he met Ngozi. She was beautiful, elegant, and confident. She worked as a waitress at the hotel he had lodged. It was love at first sight. He admired her before getting to know her name. When they eventually got talking, Chuka liked her calm demeanor and sense of humor. Ngozi came from a struggling home. Her father had passed years ago and her mother sold vegetables in the market. She had 3 younger siblings who were still in school. Chuka saw how she cared for her family and admired her sense of responsibility and hard work. They started dating, and soon he introduced her to his mother. The first meeting was cold. Mama Chuka smiled and welcomed her, but something felt off. There was pride in Ngozi's eyes, and she barely recognized Mama Chuka's efforts. "You are welcome, my daughter," she said, handing her a plate of jollof rice she had prepared herself to welcome her son's girlfriend. "Thank you," Ngozi replied flatly, picking at the food. After she left, Mama called her son aside. "Chuka, are you sure this girl will love you for who you are, not for what you have? This girl, there's something off about her." "Mama, she's a good woman. She's just shy," he replied. But Mama was not convinced. She had seen women like Ngozi before. They wore a mask of humility, but hid disdain behind polite smiles. She prayed that her son would not regret his choice. Chuka was convinced he had found the one. Despite Mama's reservation, he proposed to Ngozi and she accepted. After the wedding, Mama Chuka did everything she could to build a bond with Ngozi, her daughter-in-law. She brought foodstuff during her visits, gave her wrappers, and prayed for her every morning. "You will carry your own child," she would say, touching Ngozi's stomach with faith-filled hands. Ngozi was disgusted and would look at her with so much disdain. After 5 years of marriage with no child, Mama never complained. She never pressured Ngozi, her daughter-in-law. All she showed was care and love. She sowed seed in church, fasted, and encouraged Ngozi to stay hopeful that in no time she would carry her own baby. She would visit with gifts, small things she could afford, like dried fish, groundnut oil, tubers of yam. "I know it's not much, but it comes from my heart," she would say. Ngozi would smile stiffly and say, "Thank you." But the moment Mama left, she would complain. "Must she come all the time? I need my space too," she would grumble to Chuka. Chuka tried to balance both sides. He loved his mother deeply and adored his wife. He thought Ngozi just needed time. When Chuka sent money to his mother, Ngozi would frown. "My siblings need money for school. Why are you giving your mother money again now? Didn't you give her money some weeks ago?" "She's my mother," he would reply. "She suffered for me and she deserves all she gets from me." Ngozi would sulk for days, but when it came to her siblings, she would beam with pride. Chuka paid their fees, bought them gadgets, and even rented an apartment for her younger brothers in the city. For Ngozi, no month passed by without her buying expensive luxury wigs. Mama saw the signs. She kept quiet and kept praying. Her love for her son was too deep to allow bitterness. She continued to visit occasionally, but the more Mama showed love, the more Ngozi grew resentful. She was uncomfortable around her mother-in-law, convinced that one day the woman would try and replace her with another woman since she did not have a child for her son. The house was quiet, yet the silence was not peaceful. Ngozi moved around with the air of discontent, pretending to be fine whenever Chuka was around. She greeted Mama only when Chuka was around, but never with warmth. It was all formality. Mama noticed how her presence made Ngozi uneasy. The smile were strained, and the responses short. Her visit always met with a forced welcome. Still, Mama kept her peace. Mama had spent 3 days with them during one of her visits, helping with cooking and cleaning, even when Ngozi didn't ask for help. On the 3rd day, Mama noticed that Ngozi barely spoke to her. Ngozi would retreat to her room after greeting and return only when Chuka came back from work. At night, Mama sat on the bed on the guest room, praying for wisdom. She asked God to touch her daughter-in-law's heart. She believed that with time, Ngozi would see that she loved her genuinely. But deep down, Something told her that the love may never be returned. Ngozi was clever. She knew how to appear respectful in front of Chuka while painting Mama in a negative light. She started with small complaint. Chuka, I know your mother means well, oh, but I wish you can call before coming now. I have routine and it gets disrupted whenever she comes, she said one evening. Chuka looked puzzled. Ngozi, you know I'm her only child and I guess she gets bored staying alone sometimes in the village. She doesn't mean to inconvenience anyone. Please, try and understand. You know, she only comes once in 6 months. Yes, but I just wish she understood boundaries, she replied, playing with her fingers. Or is it that I am married to a mommy's boy? Weeks later, Chuka sent his mother money. Ngozi's mood changed. My siblings' school fees are due now, she would say pointedly. I know, I'll handle it, Chuka would respond, already opening his banking app. Ngozi didn't mind him helping her family. In fact, she encouraged it, but any assistance to his mother was seen as threats. She began to imply that Mama was a burden to them. But Mama, who once thought Ngozi only needed time, began to see the widening gap. Her visits became less frequent. She would visit once in like 8 months. However, Ngozi was a different person when her siblings visited. She cooked the best meals, played music, and even posted photos of them on social media, gushing over how much she loved her family. My siblings are my world, she would write. Chuka noticed how lively the house became when they were around, but when Mama visited, the atmosphere always turned cold. Ngozi wouldn't bother preparing anything special. Sometimes she would lock herself in the room and let Mama figure out meals herself. You didn't cook today? Chuka said one evening. I was tired, Ngozi replied. And beside, your mom is used to village food. She knows how to cook. It wasn't the word, but the tone that pierced him. But Chuka stayed silent, hoping things would improve. Mama cooked for herself, cleaned after herself, and when she could, she cooked for both of them too. When Chuka called to ask why she wasn't visiting as she used to, she simply smiled. Old age is not easy. I just want to rest in my own house. But her heart ached. She missed her son's laughter, missed hearing his voice in the morning, and though he still called regularly, his words now had a different tone, less open, more cautious. One afternoon, while Chuka was at work, Ngozi sat with her younger sister who had come to visit. I don't know what I have done to this my mother-in-law, Ngozi said, sounding frustrated. She keeps reminding me that I have not given her a grandchild. I think she cursed me. That woman, she is a witch. Her sister widened her eyes. Are you serious? Ngozi nodded solemnly. She said since I have closed my womb, that it will remain closed. It was a lie. But Ngozi said it so convincingly that even her own sister believed her. That evening, she told Chuka the same thing, tears streaming down her face. Your mother hates me. She said I will never carry a child. What kind of woman says that to her own daughter-in-law? Chuka was stunned. She said that? Yes, Ngozi replied. But I won't fight her. I will leave her for God to fight my battle. That night, Chuka could not sleep. He couldn't imagine his mother saying such a thing. But Ngozi was crying. Why would she lie? He called Mama the next morning, his voice cold. Mother, did you say anything about Ngozi's womb and not having children? Mama was quiet. What are you talking about? She said you cursed her. God forbid. I have never cursed anyone in my life. I only have prayed for her. Mama replied, her voice trembling. Chuka sighed. I just want peace. Please, don't say anything again that can hurt her. Mama hung up with tears in her eyes. She never cursed Ngozi. Why would she lie? Despite everything, she continued to pray for her son's wife to get pregnant. Her neighbors soon noticed she no longer visited her son like before. Mama Chuka, what happened now? You no dey go see your pikin again for Lagos? One asked. I am old now. I just need to rest, she replied, smiling faintly. But deep inside, her spirit was weary. Each time she visited, she felt like an outsider. Still, she never complained to anyone, not even Chuka. Then came the day Chuka surprised her with a monthly allowance increase. Mama thanked him with tears. God will bless you, my son. You will never lack. But when Ngozi found out, she was livid. Why are you giving her more money when my siblings' fees are due? And I need to send money for foodstuff for them. I have already paid their fees, Ngozi. This is for my mother, Chuka replied calmly. Everything is about her, she shouted. Do you want her to move in here? Maybe she should be your wife now, so that I can pack out. Chuka looked at her, stunned. He had never seen such anger in her eyes. You don't need to say that, he said softly. But Ngozi wasn't done. She stormed out of the room, leaving behind an air of resentment. It had been over 8 months since Mama Chuka last visited her son in Lagos. One morning, she wrapped her wrapper tightly around her and took a bus to Lagos, determined to see her son, as she had missed him, and the last dream she had about him wasn't too pleasant. When she arrived, Chuka welcomed her warmly. His face lit up as he embraced her. Mama, I missed you. She laughed softly, hugging him tightly. My son, I am glad to see you again. Ngozi stood on the doorway, forcing a smile. Good evening, Mama, she said flatly. Ngozi, my daughter. God bless you, Mama replied, not expecting much warmth. She had learned to expect bare minimum from her. That evening, it rained heavily. It was cold, and the cold was persistent. Mama went to the guest room to unpack. She noticed that the small electric heater she used during previous visits had been unplugged, and when she tried to turn it on, it remained dead. She traced the wire and realized it has been disconnected completely by someone. Shivering from the cold, she decided to boil water to take a warm bath. Carefully, she wrapped her scarf around her head and walked into the kitchen with a kettle in her hands. Mama struck a match and lit the gas burner. The warmth of the flame comforted her slightly. She placed the kettle on the stove, waiting patiently. Just then, Ngozi stormed into the kitchen. Her eyes widened with annoyance. What are you doing in my kitchen? Mama turned slowly, surprised. I came to boil water. The heater is not working. In my room, it has been disconnected. Ngozi stood angrily. So, you couldn't wait for me to finish whatever I am doing, eh? You think you can just come into my kitchen just as you want? Mama blinked, not unsure how to respond. I am sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. I just needed warm water. I don't like people touching my things in my kitchen, Ngozi snapped. Mama took a deep breath. I am sorry, my daughter. I didn't think it would be a problem. Before she could finish her sentence, Ngozi took the kettle from her burner and emptied the water in the sink, and then she moved closer and pushed Mama. Please leave. I don't want to see you in my kitchen. Mama staggered slightly, but regained her balance. She looked at her daughter-in-law, stunned. Ngozi, did you just push me? Please leave. Ngozi backed, slamming the door. As Mama walked out in silence, her heart was heavy. Moments later, Mama heard footsteps. It was Chuka. As soon as Ngozi heard him open the front door, she sprang into action. She quickly poured water on her face and threw herself on the sitting room floor, wailing, "Ah, God, my chest!" she cried loudly. Chuka rushed to her. "Ngozi, What happened? She held her ribs and mourned. Your mother, she slapped me. She pushed me on the floor just because I told her I was looking for the kitchen key. Chuka, she laid her hands on me. Chuka's face changed instantly. What? Mama did what? Mama Chuka came out from the corridor, shocked at the scene. What are you saying, Ngozi? Ngozi pointed at her. You pushed me and you slapped me. Don't you know that I am someone's daughter too? Why are you maltreating me? Is it because I have not given your son a child? Chuka turned to his mother. Mama, why would you do that? Mama looked at her son with pleading eyes. Confused. I didn't slay hands on her. I only came to boil water. She was the one that pushed me. I told me to leave the kitchen. Ngozi interrupted, crying louder. She wants to kill me in my husband's house, oh. God, see me, oh. At this point, Chuka's head was spinning. He couldn't think clearly. All he saw was his wife crying on the floor and his mother standing silently. The rain outside grew heavier, pounding against the windows and the roof. The tension inside the house was thicker than the clouds above. Mama, I think it's best to go back to the village first thing tomorrow morning, Chuka said, his voice shaking. Mama's eyes widened. Chuka, listen to me. I didn't touch her. She pushed me. I swear before God. Ngozi jumped in. If she does not leave tonight, I am packing my things and I am leaving. Since you want your mother to kill me, I can't sleep in the same roof with someone who assaulted me, who beats me up and said I am barren. I will never bear children. You better choose between us. Either your mother leaves tonight or I will leave this marriage for you. Mama sank to her knees. Ngozi, why are you doing this? What wrong have I done to you? She looked at Chuka, her son. I suffered for you. How can you send me out in this storm tonight? Okay, let me stay. I would leave first thing tomorrow morning, I promise. But Chuka looked at his wife, who was crying bitterly, and then said, Mama, please, I need peace in my home, and I want you to leave this house right now. I don't care if it's raining or not. Mama packed up her bags, wrapped her shawl tightly around her, and walked into the rain that night. Ngozi, her daughter-in-law, watched from the window with a smirk smile. The rain beat down on Mama's frail body as she stumbled through the streets looking for shelter. Eventually, she found an abandoned wooden shade near a construction site. It was leaky, but it was better than nothing. She sat there, drenched and shivering, her teeth chattered as she whispered a prayer. God, I have no one but you. Fight for me. Be my judge. Help me. The night was long. Mama could barely sleep. The cold soaked through her bones, and by morning, she could hardly stand. A passerby found her lying weakly under the shade and called someone who rushed her to the hospital. Meanwhile, back at Chuka's house, things were calm. Ngozi served breakfast with a smile, acting as though nothing had happened. Chuka tried not to think about his mother. He convinced himself she would be fine. 3 days passed. Chuka hadn't heard from Mama. Guilt began to creep in, but he buried it beneath layers of anger and confusion. Then, one afternoon, he had returned from work early, searching for a document he had forgotten in the wardrobe. When she found a small pouch hidden behind Ngozi's clothes, it was for Ngozi, his wife. Out of curiosity, he opened it. Inside were strips of contraceptive pills, all unopened, some used. His heart skipped a beat. He counted. She had been taking them consistently. Ngozi had been preventing pregnancy. I am finished. He waited for her to return from her outing. The moment she stepped into the house, he confronted her. What are these? He asked, holding up the contraceptive. Ngozi froze. Chuka, where did you get that? Why have you been using contraceptive for 5 years? She sighed and sat down. And so I didn't want to get pregnant now. Why? He asked, stunned. I never really loved you, she confessed. I married you because you were stable financially. You were rich. I married you because I know you could afford to pay my bills and train my younger siblings through school. You did so much, but I never wanted children with you. Not because I don't love you. I already found someone else. The words hit Chuka like a dagger. Ngozi, so you used me and you made me turn against my own mother. Chuka broke down. Burying his face in his hands, he wept bitterly, realizing the price he had paid for not seeing Ngozi's true intention all these years. He had been blinded. He rushed out of the house, got into his car, and drove to his mother's village, only to discover she had not returned. The neighbors told him that she had been hospitalized since the night she returned. Chuka raced to the hospital, heart pounding with fear and regret. There, lying on the hospital bed, was his mother, pale, weak, but still breathing. He knelt beside her, tears flowing. Mama, I am sorry. Please forgive me. She opened her eyes slowly, recognizing his voice. A tear slid down her cheeks. My son, she whispered, I knew someday God would vindicate me. The hospital room was silent, save for the rhythmic beeping of the monitor beside Mama Chuka's bed. Chuka sat by her side, holding her frail hand in his, weeping silently. The image of her walking in the rain, soaked and shivering because of him, haunted his every thought. The doctor had told him she had developed pneumonia from exposure to the cold and had been battling a high fever since her admission. If the Good Samaritan hadn't found her, she would have been dead by now. He couldn't stop replaying Ngozi's confession in his head. The pills, the lies, the betrayal. It was all too much. Mama, he whispered through tears, I failed you. I let her turn me against you. She squeezed his hands gently. I forgive you. I know you were trying to be a good husband and a good man. You were blind in love, but God opened your eyes. Chuka stayed with his mother in the hospital, barely sleeping. He only returned home briefly to get clothes and check on a few things. When he arrived home, he found Ngozi packing. Where are you going? He asked quietly. To meet the love of my life, she replied, without looking at him. He clenched his jaw. You used me, Ngozi. You used my money, my love, my family. She zipped her suitcase and faced him. And you let me. You were too busy playing the perfect son to notice. I was never truly in love with you. You were. Chuka shook his head in disbelief. Even if I let you in blindly, you didn't have to destroy the relationship between me and my mother. Ngozi walked past him without a word, dragging her suitcase out of the house. He didn't stop her. As she left, a strange peace settled over the house, kind he had never felt for years. Ngozi boarded a taxi, going to Peter, the love of her life. When she arrived at his place, she met with his gate man. Your oga dey inside? Oga? Which oga? Oga don travel with him wife oh. I don't understand. I mean your boss now, my boyfriend, the one I used to come and see. Now, madam, na wetin I dey tell you. Oga don travel with him wife go abroad this morning oh. Dem no dey. As you can see, the house is empty. Ngozi could not believe what she was hearing. Peter was married. The same guy she has been saving money with for the longest time hoping they were going to travel together. He had promised that he was doing a visa for her to travel together abroad and live happily ever after. He was married. He had duped her, taken her money, and traveled out of the country with his wife. Immediately, Ngozi started seeing stars. Her vision became blurry. Gateman, abeg, hold me, hold me. I am not seeing well, hold me. And before anyone could realize, Ngozi collapsed on the floor. Thank you for watching this story. I hope you enjoyed watching. Kindly share with us the valuable lessons you have learned from this story as we interact in the comment section. Like this video please, and kindly share out this video to your loved ones. Subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed. Until I come your way again with another story, for now, from me, it is bye.